What's happening? Right now we're looking at our bar chords and our 7th chords. Alright, let's start out with the basics. So major and minor. Let's do it if we had our root note from the 6th string. Okay, let's use G as our example. So sure, we could play an open position G, but what if we wanted to play G sharp major? This open position shape wouldn't work. So we resort to the bar chord. Once again, we're looking at G major here. So our first finger is going to come down and bar all of the 3rd fret. So that's the 3rd fret from the 6th string all the way to the 1st. The best way to get the cleanest sound is to kind of roll back the skin on your finger. So instead of being flat, you're kind of tilting it to the side. So you're taking the skin from the bottom and rolling it to the sides. Okay, so here we go. Rolling it to the sides right before that fret. Now we're going to come down with our 3rd finger and play the 5th fret on the A string, the 5th fret on the G or D string with our pinky, and then our 2nd finger will come down and play the 4th fret on the G string, and then the top 2 strings are barred. So really, if in the key of G major, we have 3, 5, 5, 4, 3, 3. G major. If you notice, it's the same chord as, but now we're not relying on any open strings to give us our notes necessary to form that chord. The best part about this chord is once you get it clean, another thing just to help out with is keeping your thumb up in the back. As soon as your thumb starts to point this way, it constricts your hand from being able to open up and really grab each note in the chord. Also, you want to make sure you're driving some pressure in with that thumb to bar the 3rd fret in this case. All right? So maybe you want to check it and go 3rd fret all across the board, and then drop down your other notes. So G major. Now to use these bar chords, all you need to know is what note you're playing on the low E string. So in this case, we're playing the 3rd fret, so that's G. If we take the same shape and move it up a half step, so now we're playing 4, 6, 6, 5, 4, 4. Now we're playing G sharp major. Now we move it up a half step, we're playing A major. Because this note, 5th fret on the low E string, is A. So we play that shape, major chord shape from the low E string root note. Anytime you want to play a major chord and you want to have your root note from that low E string, this is the shape you want to use. Okay? And you're playing all 6 strings. The best part about this chord, besides it being movable, is that you can lift up your 2nd finger. So let's go back to this G major. Lift up your 2nd finger and keep everything barred. So now I'm playing 3, 5, 5, and then I have 3, 3, 3. This makes the chord a minor chord. So this is a minor bar chord with a 6th string root. So anytime your root note is on the 6th string, you would play this shape. So now that's G minor. Let's move it up a half step. That's G sharp, so this is G sharp minor. A minor. A sharp minor, B minor, C minor. So really, in the last couple minutes, I showed you 24 different chords. Not bad. Now, what if we wanted to go G major to C major, right? We could just keep the shape the same and move from the 3rd fret on the low E to the 8th fret. But that's burning more fuel than we need to, because there's another C right here on the 5th string, 3rd fret. So instead of having to go all the way up here, we could just go. Okay? So let's look at the major and minor chords with a root note on the 5th string. So in this case, we're talking about C. C is the 3rd fret on the A string. I'm going to use that with my 1st finger. And then I'm going to take my 3rd finger and I'm going to bar the 5th fret on the D, G, and B strings. And all I'm gonna do is play the inside strings. This is a C major chord. If you notice, this also is the same as. So now you know 3 different ways to play C major. Now you take this shape and you move it up to anywhere else on that 5th string, and you'll get whatever note that is major. So for instance, let's do the 7th fret. 7th fret on the A string is the note E. So we play that shape, in this case 7, 9, 9, 9. That's an E major chord. So here's our E major. So C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, etc. All right. Now if we want to play a minor chord, we're going to have to take our first finger. Let's go back to that C. Okay, and we got first finger hitting our root note. Then we have our 3rd finger coming down here hitting the 5th fret. Our 4th finger comes down, hits the 5th fret on the G, and then our 2nd finger is going to come down and hit the 4th fret, in this case, on the B string. You can bar if you want with your first finger on the 3rd fret and include that on the high E string. That's just doubling the 5th in this case. This is C minor. I'd recommend this when you're doing reggae, because you want just the upper structure of that chord. So in that case, you're going to want to include the high E string. Okay? So once again, if you look at it, even though we need to refinger it, all we're doing between major and minor is lowering that 3rd a half step. So in the case of C, we're going E to E flat. E to E flat. Sound totally changes off of 1 fret. So now that we know our minors, there's no chord that we can't play. So let's review that real quick. Major from the 6th, minor from the 6th, major from the 5th, minor from the 5th. All right.